Let me see. Okay, no. Okay, let me switch. Is it better now? I want to be sure everybody can hear me and there's no echo, so nobody misses out. Any better now? Medium, can you help me confirm? Hope I got the name correctly.
We can hear you. It's okay now.
Slightly, yes, it's okay.
Okay, yes, ma'am.
All right, very well. So once again, good evening, everyone. My name is Favor Samson. My web3 name is actually Fav.so, but Favor is very fine actually. And then, like I said earlier on, we're going to be exploring the roles and responsibilities of a community manager. So if you're, I don't know, most people who are new to the tech space, Web3 space in particular, I think one of the first job roles and titles they would tell them about is community management, community moderation, and the likes. Reason being because it's one of the easiest to actually transition into and get your hands into. You get so, but we're going to be discussing everything that would make you stand out as a community manager or a community builder, so to say. So one might ask, might have a question: what is a community manager? So if you belong to maybe a family, a church, an association, in school, students' body, and all those kind of settings are communities. And if you look at them carefully and very well, you will notice that there are people who call the shots in those community and settings. Are we following? So meaning they have people who organize events there, who make sure things in those communities are going well and smooth enough. So yes, so this basically is what a community manager is: somebody who is in charge of ensuring that communities that are being set up to meet a particular purpose do not die out prematurely, and they also ensure that those communities fulfill the purpose that they were actually set up for. Are we following? If you can understand what I'm saying, just drop a thumbs up. I'm going to be asking you guys to drop a thumbs up so that I can be sure everybody is following me and we are all on the same page. All right, cool. Gerald is following. If you're following, just drop a thumbs up. All right, cool. Prince is following very well. All right, so moving on. Great. So, what are the key duties of a community manager or a community builder? Some of the most popular ones are engagement, support, content creation, and moderation. Now, you need to understand that different communities have different goals and purpose for which they were created for. So, depending on the goal and purpose of the community, that will determine the key focus of the community moderator or the community manager. But in general, on a more general note, the key duties of every community manager involves engagement, meaning the community manager should ensure or must ensure that engagement is being driven well enough in those communities where he or she manages or moderates. Support, so meaning members of that community, as a community manager or moderator, you are responsible for providing good amount of support to members of that community. So you have new members flocking into a community. It's your duty as a moderator or as a community manager to ensure that you get them settled in well enough, meaning you provide all of the necessary documents to get them up to speed, or you point them in the right direction to ensure that they find their way well and good enough to settle down effectively in the community. Yes. Now, another thing that is a key duty for a community manager or moderator is content creation. Yes, content creation that actually suits or meets the needs and the goals of the community. Now, the whole aim of content creation coming from a community moderator or manager is to see that members of that community are always on the same page as to what the goals and purpose of that community is all about. So you create content in that light to see that members of the community always having be written content. Basically, those two. It could be any form of content as well, but it could be video or written as well. But basically, those two kind of contents, you create those contents to drive engagement, which is also one of the key responsibilities or key duties of a community manager. But then the goal of creating this content is to see that members of your community actually understand the purpose of why they are in the community in the first place. Let's say, for instance, now you're working for a Web3 project now. It could be a DeFi project or an NFT project. You would actually be required to create content. It could be bit-sized content, maybe daily tips or daily nuggets as to what the project is all about. Those kind of contents would help people of that community or members of that community always know or learn more or better of what the community is all about and what the project does. So yes, content creation is also a key duty and responsibility for community managers. Then we have moderation. So moderation is simply, it just simply involves how activities in the community is being carried out. So you could have you could have a list of activities that is being lined up, maybe weekly activity or daily activity for the community. Now, as a community moderator or as a community manager, it is also one of your duty to ensure that these activities are being moderated well and effectively enough. So you really want to organize these meetings, make sure when activities are going on in the community, you try to see that people are participating well enough. You're more or less seen as a middleman in this case, meaning you don't pick sides with anybody, you are for everybody. Hence, that would make you an effective moderator. You don't have a favorite in the community, you're for everybody and you're not sitting against anybody actually. So that's one of the things. So you would ensure that okay, the community goes smoothly or activities in the community are being carried out smoothly. You know, when people want to have, you know, we're dealing with people in this case, communities involves people being in them. So you might have one or two people who get into one or two scuffle. It is also your duty to ensure that you see that the community is as peaceful as possible. No hate speech is being dished out to anybody. You understand? So hence, moderation is also a duty of a community moderator. So that being said, just to ensure that everybody has followed or is following to this point, can you drop a reaction? A thumbs up would do just very fine. I want to be sure everybody has understood all I've been trying to say. All right, good. Awesome. Awesome. And also hope I am not too fast. Most people tell me if you speak too fast, can you slow down a bit? Am I too fast? Okay, if you lost me at any point and you need me to repeat anything, please just do well to just call my attention, raise a hand. I would definitely give you the mic to call my attention to anything you must have missed. All right, so moving on, I hope we all get the key duties of a moderator or a community manager. It actually involves engagement, meaning you ensure that people are active in the community. Engagement is being driven well enough in the community. It also involves support. You are responsible for providing support for every single community member, both new and existing members of that community. Content creation, you're also tasked with creating bit-sized content that would help every single person of that community, whether new or already existing community members. And moderation, seeing that the community is run smoothly at all times. That when people come in, they feel community to be a safe space and somewhere they can thrive and grow. All right, so moving on, you'd also have daily tasks and time management strategy. So as a community moderator or manager, one thing you should have in mind is you have to see that the community is active, give or take on a daily basis. Do you understand? On a daily basis. And one of those things that would help you is having a list of daily tasks and also be able to implement proper time management strategies. So one of the things that has really, really worked for me as a community moderator and manager, because I still manage a community for Super Team Nigeria here in Kaduna State. We have over 500 members in that community. So one of the things that work for me is this. During the first few weeks and months of setting up the community, I was able to take note of the most active times of the day where the community is very, very active. The reason I did this is so that I could structure my plan effectively to know when to drop key and important informations in the group. I would ensure I drop them at the best time where people are most active. Do you get? But now this was only possible because I had a list of daily tasks. So for me, I'm going to be using myself as a case study here so that I'll try to give practical examples well enough so that you guys can follow and see how you implement this on your own, at your own level, wherever you find yourself. So I had to come up with a list of daily tasks, and it included, okay, sending in um, good morning messages in the community to get people to start engaging. Do you understand? Mhm. Somebody's mic is unmuted. Okay, because I heard the echo too. Sorry, give me a second, guys. All right, guys, thank you. I'm back. Yes, so talking about task and time management strategies that can help you. So you want to ensure you have a list of tasks, daily tasks that are being outlined for your community. Now, like I said earlier on, every community being set up has a goal and purpose. So the first step to doing this effectively is understanding in clarity what the purpose of your community is. Is it to provide community support for a project, or is it to have a community, or is it to help people find themselves? Let's say you set up a community of writers, or you have a writers community, a designers community. You understand? So each different types of community have different types of goals, and because there are different types of community, there would be different type of tasks that are being expected to be carried out in those communities. So having a proper understanding of what your community or the community you are assigned to manage or moderate is all about is the first step to having a list of daily tasks and also being able to manage your time effectively and efficiently. Do you get? So you need to always ask yourself, what is the purpose of this community? Once you understand that, and hey, you can now move forward to now say, okay, I think these are the list of tasks that are expected to be carried out on a daily basis in this community. And also your community members could suggest, I think we could have games nights, do this, do that. You'd also take into account all of those things. Now, when you have a list of daily tasks to be carried out in your community, it helps make the work easy and less tedious for you. Why? Because at certain periods or certain times during the day, you know that, okay, I'm supposed to have done this, I'm supposed to have done this, I'm supposed to relay this message, I'm supposed to open the community for community feedback, or get feedback from everybody in the community, or just have a little chill time with the community members. Do you understand? So, like I said again, knowing the purpose of the community would help you list out um, tasks that you're supposed to carry out on a daily basis. This is the only way to be efficient on that note. Also, regarding time management strategies, one way you can do this effectively is to pay very good attention to the community, especially during its early stage. The reason being because as people are coming into the community, or let's say you have your first set of community members, that is the period where you test out ideas and test out what works and what does not work, or what does not work rather. As soon as you do that, you will now know, okay, at this time of the day, the community is less active. So I will not be able to, it will not make sense to put out important information so that people will not miss it. Do you get? But then at this time of the day, the community is very, 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 very active. So let's say you're a student, you're not expected to be 247 on your phone. You would have time where you're in class, maybe you're doing something offline. You get? So timing when the community is most active would help you make your work a seamless one. Did you get? So, and it all boils down to paying attention to the members of the community. That is actually the only way to go about it, or one of the only ways to go about it. Do you get? So you need to be conscious of your time. And then one thing you can also do is check in with the community at regular intervals. As a student, you could be very occupied with lectures and all. Let's say you check in every 1 hour, do you get, or you check in every 2 hours, depending on how active your community is. This is something to also note, guys. Depending on how active the community is, that is what will determine how frequent you check in with the community. Do you get? So if it's a very active community where people are always dropping messages and responding yes like as soon as possible, you would want to be checking in maybe on an hourly basis. You check in an hour's time, you spend like 10, 15 minutes, see what's going on. Okay, see, read through the messages, see if you need to um, caution someone to not do something that they are not supposed to do, or see that you're supposed to help someone who has a query or a question. But then timeliness and consciousness is what will help you here. So I mean, it's not possible to just be on your phone 24/7. You have other things to do going on, like in your individual life. So what you can do is this: just pick what works for you best, depending on how active the community is. It's a very active community. You might want to check in maybe 30 minutes interval, 1 hour interval, depending on how active the community is. I'm saying depending on how active the community is because not every community is as active as people would expect them. And yes, communities are very active at different times of the day. You only get to know this when you start to pay attention. Do you understand? So I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, just drop a thumbs up. Let me be sure we all got that part. Also, I hope I'm not speaking too fast. Okay, very well. All right, so that is it. So you want to have list of daily tasks that is required of you to be carried out in the community, and you'd also want to ensure you check in with the community at regular intervals. It could be intervals of 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hours, depending on how active the community is, so that you don't miss out important things that goes on in the community. Yes. So as a community moderator or manager, what are essential skills that would help you 10x your productivity in this field or line of work? One of the most important skills is effective communication. Yes, effective communication. I feel effective communication cannot really be overemphasized because it is needed in literally, I mean, I've seen it play out effectively for people in literally any field. Developers need it well enough, designers, writers, everybody needs it. And as a community manager and moderator again, being an excellent communicator would make your work easy. This is why it will make your work easy. It will make your work easy in the sense that your community members will be able to understand instructions when you give them and probably understand messages you pass out effectively. And once people are able to understand what you're talking about, it makes the work very easy. Do you understand? So being an effective communicator or being able to communicate effectively as a community manager or moderator is key. Plus, as a community manager or moderator, you are actually seen as the face of a project because you're the first point of contact people we have when they come into the community. Do you understand? So you need to know all about the project or what the community is all about well enough to be able to explain it to everybody who joins the community newly or be able to resolve issues that people would have. So communication is a must. It's a non-negotiable. It is a must for every community moderator manager because one of your key tasks is relaying information to these community members. And how would you do it effectively if you cannot communicate effectively? So to help a couple of you here, you could just go on YouTube and okay, there's this guy I follow who talks about how to be an excellent communicator, and his videos are actually amazing. His name is Vane. You can just search out Vane on YouTube or on Instagram. He talks about how to communicate effectively. And with little nuggets and tips, you'll see that okay, your communication game is actually becoming much more better. So you could check him out and see what he has in store for you. Really great guy there. I might type his handle later on. So that being said, another essential skill is organization and also technical proficiency. So being organized would help you keep track or keep check of important things in the community. Do you understand? Nobody likes coming to a community that does not have structure. So, as a community moderator, the community members will follow your lead. Do you understand? So, when and how you do things will determine when and how the community members also do those things. You understand? That's where organization comes in. So you yourself, you have to be a very organized person, meaning you don't talk to people anyhow. You understand? That's how there's a manner and way you structure things. Because once people start to come into the community, they automatically follow the pattern of things, or they automatically follow the order and pattern of how things are being done in the community. Do you guys understand? Yes, so um that is where organization comes in. And then let's say you're also working with other moderators or community managers as well. Being organized would help each and every one of you make sure that the community is always in check at every given point in time. You understand? Nobody really likes to come into a community that does not have order or organization. Just, I mean, you will not enjoy being in a community that's always rowdy or noisy without focus. You make, I mean, that kind of community seems like a very unserious community. Do you guys understand? You look at them and be like, what do these people they even do, Seth? Do you get? So you need to set the order and structure, and the community members will follow. So they do what they see you do, and they will not do what they've never seen you do. Understand? And that way you can be able to now call people and say, okay, hey, we don't do this here in this community. That's how it basically works. So people will follow what they see the community mods and admins of that community do. So that being said, another essential skill is technical proficiency. So technical proficiency in the sense that you need to understand the ins and outs of, let's say, the projects you are managing that community for, to be able to answer questions when they arise. Like I said, excuse me, like I said, you are the first face of the community or the project once people come in. So you not being proficient enough technically as to what the project does or the goals and purpose of that community, it doesn't look too good. You understand? So you have to understand the basics, at least know the basics of the project or the goals and purpose of that community well enough. So when people come and they ask questions, before they even finish asking questions, you give them an answer. Or when they ask a question, you give them an answer such a way that you already answer all the other possible questions they would have. And that's only possible when you do your due diligence to study well enough about that project and be able to answer those questions when they arise. And that is where technical proficiency comes in. So in another sense, you need to know your onions well enough, meaning you need to know your game. You need to take out time to study documents about the project or do more research and have more insight into the goal and purpose of that community. Do you get? So I hope that makes sense. If all I've said up to this point makes sense to you, please drop a thumbs up. Let me be sure everybody's following. All right, cool, cool, awesome. Okay, great. All right, so moving on. As a community moderator or manager, you would also be leveraging social media platforms for community growth. So meaning you need to be skilled with social media as well to be able to keep growing your community. And communities do not just exist on WhatsApp and Discord or Telegram. They exist on social media platforms as well. Let's say Instagram, Facebook, and also LinkedIn. You understand? So depending on the goal and purpose of those communities. So you need to know your tool well enough. You need to be able to leverage them well enough, and then communicating on all of these social media platforms are done differently. So whichever one you are tasked or assigned to manage or handle, you need to do your due diligence to study them well enough and know what works and what does not work at all to be able to be effective enough in your line of job. Does that make sense? So you need to also learn to leverage social media platforms to also grow your community. So let's say you have a community on Discord, you need to also go to other social media platforms, let's say Twitter or X, Instagram, LinkedIn. Talk about what your community is all about. Try to also onboard people into your community. That's one way you can actually leverage social media platforms to grow your community. And also, even if your community is a physical one, because all I'm saying so far now, it doesn't just relate to online communities. You can actually apply it to physical communities. And that was why I started by asking the question of how many of us are in families, school organizations, or school student bodies. Do you understand? If you look at it well enough, you see that they are not really different from each other. The only thing that is different is the medium used to pass information or where these communities exist. Some are offline, some are online. But everything I've been talking about so far, it applies to both of them in a way. Do you guys understand? So you also need to align content and community interests and also project goals. So I have already been saying this from the onset. Communities have a purpose, and the only way you can have an effective community that does its job well is when you know what the purpose and goal of that community is. Because the whole essence of having a community is to see that it aligns with the goal and purpose it is being created for, or also it aligns with the goal and purpose of the project that is attached to it. It could be a Web3 project, a Web2 project, whatever project. But communities have goals and purpose. And if you understand that they have goals and purpose, you would also understand that these goals and purpose need to align. They need to align with the community itself. Do you understand? With the community interest and also the project goals. So maybe a project has a goal of they want to grow their user base. Let's say they're an app, they want to grow their user base. They could set up a community and say, okay, let's have a community that onboards people, tell them what our app does, have fun activities they can carry out. It's a to them it's a growth strategy. So because it's a growth strategy, you now need to understand that, okay, this community is set up to grow the user base of this project. That's the goal of the community, to help this project grow its user base. So because that is the goal of the project, you will now need to ensure that the community aligns well enough with the goal of that project. Meaning most of the activities that will be carried out in the community should drive people to use the product or the app. Do you understand? So that is one way you'd align the goal of communities to that of projects. So you need to see that they both align, meaning they cross paths. They come to an alignment, and you can now be much more effective on that note. Okay, so at this point, at this point, I will do a brief run through of all I have tried to say from beginning. I started by defining what a community manager is or a community moderator. It's just someone who is tasked with the responsibility of ensuring that communities fulfill the purpose they are being created for. And how does that person do that? By ensuring that activities in that community are run smoothly and in a timely manner. That's basically what a community manager is. Somebody who is in charge of managing group of people whose goal and purpose align, or who has a common need that can be met by being a part of that community. So in a more simpler term, it's just somebody who manages a set of people or a community of people or a group of people rather who share similar interests. That's the word. A group of people who share similar interests. So you are like the centerpiece there. You're the person who works with everybody to see that, okay, everybody's needs are met as regarding the community. So that's who a community moderator is, and a community manager. You understand? So that was the first thing we tried to do. We also tried to define what community is as well. And then we spoke about key duties of a community manager and moderator. And we said they involve engagements. Engagements would involve people participating in activities of the project or the community. You understand? So the project drops a Twitter post, maybe in the community, you would drive the community members to go and engage on it, or join in the conversation. When they have a call like we're having right now, the community manager will ensure that, okay, members of the community participate in activities as they go on. So the community manager is responsible for driving engagements, he or she is also responsible for support. So people could need support. Do you understand? Meaning they have questions or they need assistance with getting something done in the community or something. That's also the job of the community manager or moderator. And then content creation, creating bit-sized content that serves the general goal of the community entirely or the purpose of the community entirely. So you create bit-sized content. It could be video content, it could be graphical content or written content, whichever one you're able to work with, depending also if you have people that are assigned to also create those contents for you. But then the community manager and moderator is also responsible for carrying out those content creation. Community moderator. Yes, so moderation. Moderation just simply means ensuring that the community is run smoothly. So you resolve problem as quickly as they arise. You also make sure information is being communicated well enough, and then you also ensure that the rules and regulations of the community is obeyed as much as possible. It's as basic as that. And then we spoke about daily tasks that you could list out for community. It could be okay, sending in GMs, times to pass information, or you could list out a daily task where community members come together, share what's going on at their end, just or set up a call like we're having right now. Those could be daily tasks you set up for the community, and also time management to be effective as a community mod and manager. One thing you should know about time management is this: whatever community you are managing, you should be able to check in the community at a timely interval, or let's say at a regular interval rather. It could be 30 minutes, 1 hour, 2 hour, depending on how active the community is. Not every community is as active as other communities. Some communities are not so active, some communities are very active. You understand? So depending on the activity rate of the community, you will now need to work with the community. So if it's very active, you need to check in at a more regular interval. That's basically how it works. So if you're a student on that note, studying the community well enough to know that okay, at least important messages or a good number of messages coming to the community, let's say in 30 minutes time or in one after 1 hour. Once you note that, it would help you save time and be effective with your time management. So you could go do other things while you also do that stuff as relating to the community. Then we spoke about essential skills as well. One of the most important skill a community manager must have to be effective is effective communication skill. If you cannot communicate as a person, community moderation or community management will be very, very hard for you. So you need to learn the skill of communicating. Do you understand? You need to learn to explain things to people in such a way that they will easily understand and follow through. That is what communication is all about. That people understand from a point of view and you knock off every question that they might have. It's as basic as that. Organization and also technical proficiency are also essential skills that a community moderator or manager should also possess. Then a community manager or moderator should also be able to leverage social media to grow the community. So meaning if you have a community on one particular platform, you should be able to leverage other social media platforms to grow or bring in inbound leads into where your community is already established. Yes, so social media is a must for community mods and managers. You must know how to leverage social media. Leveraging social media just involves you talking about your community there or leading people from these social media platforms to your community where a bulk of the activities are being carried out. That is what it is. And then as a community moderator or manager, you should be able to align your content with the community interest and project goals. So meaning if you're a community manager for a design community, content that should be put out should interest designers, Abby? Or if you're managing a writers community, content that should be put out should be appealing and it should interest writers. It should be something that will benefit them. It should be something that when they see they're excited. It should be something that when they see they can relate. So yes, and then that was basically the last thing I spoke about. So at this point, I don't know, Mrs. Vicky, can we take questions at this point? I don't know if anybody has question before I can go to talk about assignments for the day, because we'll have two sets of assignments. Guys, yes. So I'll open the floor for questions. Any question relating to what's being said today?
Yes, question.
Did someone say they have a question?
Oh, yes, I was waiting for you to respond. Thank you so
Oh,
much
okay.
for this insightful session. You
All
are
right.
so eloquent and you speak so well. Um, so my question is, you mentioned that not all communities are actually as active as we had expected. If a community is low on activity, is it not a bad thing? Then let me make this thing one. The second question is, if it is a bad thing, how can one magically transform a community into a very active one as a manager?
Awesome. I love that question because this is a problem every community will face. Yes, every community will face this problem. There will be downtimes in a community. And this is where studying and paying attention to your community will come in very handy because the community is not supposed to be active 24/7. It's going to be very, very hard to pull it off. That's the truth. Unless you have a ton of moderators working round the clock. That's the only way I've seen communities pull that off. But then here's the trick. So if a community is inactive, there could be a ton of reasons why. Maybe the goals of the community is no longer aligning with the needs of the community members. The only way to have a very effective community is when the needs of the members align with the purpose of the community. Do you understand? So, meaning if I have a writers community, even as a writers community, what is the goal of having a writers community? Is it to help writers gain jobs? Is it to help them sharpen their writing skills? Or is it to help them, what's the word now, be able to land gigs as a writer? Every community has a goal and purpose. And once the goal of a community matches the need of the community member, trust me, you would have a very effective community. It's simple. So for those communities that at some point community or die down, is because the goal of the community and the needs of the members no longer align. Do you understand? Because you will not need to cajole me if I'm a writer who needs or who is looking or who is interested or who has the need of knowing how to bag a job to be effective in a community that offers tips and helps on how to bag a job. Reason being because you are talking about what I'm interested in. Me too, I'll go follow Mount, I'll go follow Chuk Mount now. Do you get the point? So when the goals of a community aligns well enough with the need of the community members, then you've hit the jackpot and you have an effective community. So how to fix it, like your second question implied, is to ensure that the goals of the community meet the needs of the community members. It's as simple as that. Do you get? And yes, communities go on and off in a way. So you have to be skillful as a manager or a community moderator to know that okay, this community is inactive. I need to bring it back to life. And then of course you will know what your community members love the most. You will know what they like to talk about the most. It could be you have writers who like to talk about movies or games. You bring up a conversation like that, you talk about it, you excite them. Tomorrow they want to come again. Do you understand? There's this saying where people call somebody the life of the party. In communities, there are people who return life of the party. So you want to also engage this kind of people, maybe give them an unofficial role and tell them, hey, I like your activity in the community. Would you be available to help us do this and do that? And as soon as they do, you see that they're actually very skilled with bringing people out of their shell to come and join conversations. So yes, that is another strategy that you can use to bring the community back to life if you feel it has gone down a bit. Does that answer your question, Olaoye?
Yes, sir, it does. But before you go, sir, I have another question. So like while you
Shoot.
were speaking, I actually was noting some questions. Do you get? So it might seem like I have more than two questions, like three actually. So the second one is, um, you mentioned that a community manager like should know basic things about the project, right? Does it? What if the community manager does not know anything at all about the project? Does it make sense for him or her to take on the role of community management and study after that, or how does one go about that?
Okay, very good question. So if if I'm the founder of a project now, let's say a Web3 project or a Web2 project, in the first place, I'll not hire you if you don't have basic knowledge of what we're doing here because you will not be effective enough. So you need to understand that Web3 is not is not so focused on a level of experience. People just want to see the work you've done before. How did you do it? Show us proof of work. Do you understand? So if you have basic knowledge on general Web3 or blockchain or DeFi, one of those concepts like that, and then you're able to hold this how it works. I'll tell you a tactic that works for most people. So let's say a new project launches and you want to get the role of community manager or moderator. What you need to do just is go and read their document. You need to read it. You need to be able to have a conversation with the people that owns the project and convince them that okay, you see this thing you're talking about, me too, I understand it well enough. That's convincing enough. Do you understand? Because you would have people come with questions. And how would you answer that question if you don't know the basics of what the community or the project is all about? So it's a no. It's not okay if a community monitor manager does not know the basics of the project he or she is managing a community for. So it is mandated that you know the basics. Read up on them. Stuff as basic as turning on post notification on their Twitter would get you up to speed on conversations that will take place in the community, even if you're an unofficial community manager for them. But then you can learn the role from just being knowledgeable about the project early enough. Do you understand? So you should know the basics about them. Does that make sense, Olai?
Yes, sir. So like the documents would be online, available, right?
Yes. Yes, you can access this document. You need to just do research or read up about them. Most projects, if you go to their website, if you read through, you will know the basics. And by the time you go to the bottom of the site, you will see links to frequently asked questions. Just even going to the frequently asked questions page would get you way ahead of new members that will join the community. And if they join and they start asking frequently asked questions that you already read about and you're able to answer them, how do you think the owners of that project will see? They see you as somebody who knows what they're talking about. Do you understand? Just because you took out time to just do a little digging and reading up on the project entirely. So yeah, that's what you need to do. So what's your last question, Olaye?
Okay, yes, sir. My final question is this. So like I am actually just trying to make headway into the Web3 community. Like I have no experience in this space. So I have like some communities on Web2. So my question is actually a two-way one. So it goes this way. Is there a way to transition Web2 communities into Web3, like to convert them? Then the second one is how does someone as a community building enthusiast join like different communities? Because apart from Value Corp, which I am currently, I am not in any active Web3 community. So those are that's my last question. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for that question, Olaye. Very good question. How can you move um, the community from being Web2 focused to Web3 focused? Basically, you need to start with the basics. You need to start introducing them bit by bit, step by step. And if you look at it well enough, Most Web2 problems are being solved by Web3. True or false? You understand? Most problems we have in Web2 today are already being solved by Web3. So you could start from that point. You identify a problem that is a serious bottleneck in Web2 space. Then you now ask, okay, what could be a possible solution? If you ask that question, you introduce Web3. You already start introducing a community to Web3. And then with time, they start to pick up. You start to introduce Web3 concepts. And you could just even maybe set up a meeting like this, a Google call like this, and you guys just do a deep dive on Web3. There are lots of ways you can introduce people to Web3, or you can introduce Web2 natives into Web3. It's just like, if I ask you how you got introduced into Web3 now, and you share your experience now, I can also tell you that you could use that same format and also introduce other people into Web3. So does that make sense?
Yes, sir, it does.
Very well, very well. All right, so anybody else with any question before we move to assignments? We're still taking questions. I think we have the next 3 minutes for questions. Please don't be shy, yo. If you really understood all that was said, okay, that's fine.
Right.
But if you still,
GM.
yeah,
Am I audible, please? Am I audible?
yeah, loud and clear. Please ask the question.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you for the lecture. Although my network is kind of tricky, so I was struggling to hear, but I know that the things I heard so far they are valid. I want to ask something like somebody that is not yet grounded, like on community management. Like, is there a tactics where you can use to hustle your way in on like on the Web3 job? Is there like a tactics? Because most of these projects, by the time you want to go and maybe seek for offers, and they'll be looking for your experience. So, and that experience is not there. But if there's a way you can, show workings for them to notice you, strategies from there. I like coming in through the back door. So I say, let me ask if there's a way. If there's a way to do that. Thank you.
All right, I love how straightforward your question is when you say coming in through the back door. So yes, there are people who come in through the back door, but then the back door only exists because those people have proof of work. There are people who don't even need to apply. They just tell them, hey, we have an offer for you. Can you come do this and do that? Because they know that they're capable of doing that. But then you're new in the space and you want to get a job. Let's say you know the job well enough. You don't have the experience, but you can do it. You've been on a lot of spaces, you've done research, you know the ins and outs. Okay, you've listened to stuff I just said now about how to keep a community active, what to do, what not to do. The next thing to do is test it out. Go to a new community and do it for free for them. Don't expect to be paid. And if you keep it up long enough, to be honest, you would land the gig unofficially or maybe officially. And if they see they are very good enough and able to keep up, that's it. The truth is this project wants to see people who are proactive. Proactive people in the Web3 space are people who actually get it going on for themselves. You understand? The problem I see with most Nigerians today is most don't have the skill and they're not willing to do. I'm not saying you should start doing things freely, but it's basically the most littlest price you can pay to get something going on for yourself. I'll use myself as a case study. I managed the project for a year without being paid. And I did it because I actually liked the project. You understand? And I was also I was benefiting from what the project was doing. And I was just doing it because of my enthusiasm and also because I had the means to sustain myself while doing it for free for them. You understand? But it was what got me to where I am today. So if you know you don't have the experience, quote and unquote, you now need to get the experience and proof of work. Look for a community that aligns with your goals and values. Go and give yourself to that community for free. And trust me, that is proof of work. Do you get? That will count as proof of work. So honestly speaking, this process will take months. It will take quite quite a good amount of time. It might take a year. Do you understand? But you need to see that you're doing it for the long run. That's the truth. Because Web3 prioritizes proof of work. the question they will ask you is what have you done in the past? Just show us what you've done. That's all they want to just see. So if you know you've not done anything in that line, you now need to look for something to do. Give yourself work to do and do it well. You understand? Do it well and stand out. And that's how it will basically work for you. So does that make sense or does that answer your question, sir?
In fact, it's like you were just speaking as if you were a prophet. You know, there's one thing I noticed generally, to chase such, to embark on such journey, it means that you have something that you can hang on to. You understand? Because there's one thing to find a project that you're enthusiastic about, that will give you the drive to do it for free. But if you don't have like a side hustle to keep you alive, to keep you active and vibing, and that's when you're gonna like be having issues, because later you might be like, okay, I should be chasing the money instead of chasing experience. So in fact, you just hit the nail on the head like a carpenter. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, Eddie Young, I think should be the last question we take, but let's hear from you. Please, if you also have questions, just drop them in comments. I will just sweep through the comments and be sure to answer them as quickly as possible. So, Eddie Young, you have the mic, please. Ask your question.
Good evening, all. So I just wanted to know. I don't know if you can hear me. I don't know if you can hear me well.
Yes, loud and clear.
Cause can you hear me? Okay. So I wanted to like ask, like inquire now. As we are going on with this lesson, like once we are done, will we be given the opportunity to maybe form a community, like, and do like a practice, like a more like internship, so that we'll know what we are doing first before we go to work for a project. I don't know if you understand me, like a form of class project where we can start with ourselves first. Maybe we create a community amongst our own self, then we try to manage the community. We could make it like a weekly something, like each person comes weekly and manage the community, then we can see how far. I don't really know how to put it, but that's all. That's it.
I like that idea. I don't know, Mrs. Victoria, can you hear us? I want to also suggest something on that note, if that can also work. Okay, so okay, for all of you that are here, I don't know, you guys are really in the Value Cup general community, right? You're all in the general Value Cup community. So what you can do is you guys are going to embark on a personal project. All of you are going to be working on this project together. For as much of you that would be participating fully. So here's what you're going to do. You're all going to create one separate group, a temporary group, and test out all that's been said here. And each of you will take turns. You understand? You could take turns weekly, or you could take turns maybe on a 3-day basis. Maybe this person manages the community for 3 days, passes it on to the next person to manage for 3 days, and then test out strategies and um, ideas that you might have or that you've picked from all that's been said today. Does that sound like a plan? So it will be a very practical experience for all of you. So if it's something you want to do, okay, Eddie Young, you can actually do that. You and okay, I'm seeing this guy whose email is business. So maybe your business can work on that. You're already on this so that you should be in the know. So that will be part of the assignment for you guys. So you create your own group and every one of you will manage the group for let's say 2 or 3 days and test out how it is. You understand? So I'm also going to drop list of assignments now, which you will do. So these assignments now that I'm going to be dropping, you will implement them in this group you are going to be managing by yourselves. Do you guys understand? So the first task now is okay, Eddie Young, do you know what you can do? You can just create a group, be it on WhatsApp or on Telegram, anywhere. Just create a group now if you can. Then you can share the link here or you share it to everybody who's on the call. So everybody can join, you get, and then the assignment will be carried out practically in that group. There's a written assignment I'll drop, then there's also a practical assignment. So the practical assignment is you guys will use that practical assignment to test it out on yourselves in that group or in that community rather. You understand? So you test out these things, do research, test it out, and see what works and what does not work. Do you guys understand? So that's an idea I also wanted to add to that. So very good idea from you, Eddie Young. So that being said, I don't know if we have any other questions. Gerald, Ido, Prince, Dima, Benjamin. Who else is on this call? Okay, okay, okay. So that being said, I think we have.
Yeah, I thought I had a question actually. Hello.
Okay, please ask your question, please.
Hello. Now the thing is, in fact, this idea they just brought in now is super, super, super because I really wanted to like get hands on, hands on, hands on. And immediately I got the info that it's a boot camp, and I was so happy because I know that it's not just going to be theoretical, but I know that there will be some practical aspects of it, and I think we are going there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
All right, thank you for that feedback. I mean, Mrs. Victoria always does an amazing job with her boot camps. I'm actually a product of one of her boot camp as well. So yes, she does really amazing jobs with her boot camp. So very big shout out to her on that note. Okay, so I think we don't have any more questions. So at this point, I would drop assignments. What I would expect you all to do is okay. All right, cool. Um, okay, Eddie Young, if you've created the group, kindly drop the link here and then everybody can try to join. Eddie Young, if you've created the group, kindly join. Kindly drop it here so everybody on this call can join. Yes. And also, if you've not filled the attendance form, please, it is important you fill the form here. This is the attendance form, guys. Please fill it if you haven't filled it. Very important you fill it. Please fill out the attendance form. Very, very important. Okay, so let me drop the list of assignments. So we have the first set of assignments, which is written. You guys are going to submit a written. Um, it's more of a written assignment. Basically, everything I spoke about, but just to be sure you all understood the context. Yes, link. No. This form is for attendance. Eddie John, if you can get the link to the WhatsApp group, please drop it. So those who are on the call right now will just join, and you guys will do the practical assignments by yourselves in that group. Or you could just drop your numbers and Eddie John will copy it and just add you there, whichever one works. But then please pay attention, guys. This is the first set of assignments. Okay, let me wait for everybody to drop their numbers. Everybody, please drop your numbers so Eddie John can just copy and add you guys to the group. I'll wait for everybody to be done. Everybody, please drop your number. Eddie John, you can start picking their numbers and probably adding them to the group, or you can just pick it and add them later. Yes, so I will drop the assignment and then call it a night. Everybody drop your WhatsApp number so Eddie John would add you to the okay. She just dropped the WhatsApp link. So everybody just click it and then try to join. I think the WhatsApp link is here. So everybody should just join. I would also do well to join and see how it goes. We'll be able to support one or two support be able to support you guys as well. All right. So it's open. You can just join the group. Yes. Okay. Very well. Awesome. So this is going to be a very amazing ride. Okay, 6 members already. Great. Okay, so moving on. Thank you for that, Eddie Young. It's a very thoughtful suggestion you dropped there. So the first set of assignments. Yes, ma'am. After the call. I'll finish now. Thank you. All right, sorry about that. The first set of assignments is a written assignment. So you would attempt these questions. I expect you to just take a screenshot, attempt them. So name 3 types of contents that can engage a Web3 community. I spoke about them in the call, on the call already. You could also do research. You understand? Research and need. I expect you all to do research. Use your Google, use your AI, go on YouTube, research. You'd improve or increase your knowledge bank which would definitely help you. Truth is, no knowledge is waste. So go the extra mile. You understand? Go the extra mile. Do an in-depth research and see what you can find. So name three types of content that can engage the Web3 community. Why is it crucial to align content with community interests? I also spoke about this, but then do more research on it. Then list three primary responsibilities of a Web3 community manager. I also spoke about this, and then why is technical knowledge important for community manager in the Web3 space? I also spoke about this well enough. So this is the first set of assignments which is written. Do well to do your research on it and submit it to the proper channel in the Telegram community. So Mrs. Victoria will reach out to you guys as to when the assignment will be submitted or where it will be submitted. Now the next assignment or the next assignment, which is the practical assignment, the most important one here, if you ask me. All of them are important actually. All of these are very important. So the next one is this is a practical assignment. Now you have to create a daily schedule outlining tasks for a community manager of a hypothetical Web3 project. So we're going to align this with the community we have already created, where you guys will manage it. Abi? So everybody will take turn. Eddie Jong, you're in charge. So I want you to just um create a timetable for everybody. Everybody should have like 2 to 3 days, let's say 3 days max, where they manage the community. You understand? And then you can go first, then next whoever you say should come next should actually come next. So just work a timetable. Everybody gets 3 days. For everybody who is in that WhatsApp community, they should actually do this practically. So the task is this: create a daily schedule. You see those 3 days that you're going to manage the community, do your research. And you could also reframe the community and say, okay, the community will now be focused on design or writing or development or social media internship or social media manager. Do you understand? Whichever one you want to do. So you now need to now create a daily schedule that outlines the task for a community manager. So this daily schedule will just involve things that I'm really giving you guys expo. So I'll stop talking at this point. But yeah, so this daily task or this daily schedule. Okay, you can see the first assignment. Scroll up a bit. Okay, let me drop it again. The first assignment has 4 questions in it. This is the first assignment. I just dropped it again. Then this is the practical assignment. Yes. First assignment is written and then the practical assignment. Yes. So the practical assignment is what I'm trying to explain now. Create a daily schedule outlining tasks for a community manager of a hypothetical Web3 project. You understand? So this task will just involve list or series of things as a community manager you have to do every day for in that community for the project. It's as basic as that. Do you understand? So it could be in the morning, send GMs, in the afternoon, community feedback or check-in, in the evening, community call or Twitter space, any of those kind of things. I'm really giving you guys expo, but then do your research and see what works for you. And then we're going to be experimenting it in our private community there. So are we all good? I'll also drop the attendance form. Please do well to fill it one last time. Do well to fill the attendance form, please. All right, I just dropped the attendance form now. Okay, somebody's mic is unmuted. Does that person have a question? Prince, that's you. Prince, your mic is unmuted. Do you have a question?
Actually, no, sir. No, sir. Just that your voice was kind of breaking, so I didn't hear it very. And also, can you hear me, sir?
Okay, okay. Yeah, I can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you, Prince,
And
very
then
well.
one.
Could be network or something. Can you hear me?
Yeah, but can you hear me? I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yes,
Another
I
thing,
can
sir,
hear
is
you, Prince. I
this
got what you said.
attendance.
Okay, okay. That's good.
Okay,
All
this
right.
attendance.
So any
Is
questions?
my
Sorry, what happened to the attendance?
Okay, today is my first time, so I don't know what to do. Like, I should put down my
Um,
name or
yes, put your name, please. Put your name. Those of us who
hear me.
today is day one. Like I'm not sure. Is today day one or something? I think. Um.
No, today is week 3.
Okay, week three. Okay. So what do you guys fill in the attendance form? Just your name, right? Or your is it your Telegram handle?
Yes, now this is the first time we have seen what's it called? Just click the link and fill it now accordingly. Your name,
Okay,
your
exactly.
mail,
There's something you have
and
to
submit.
fill there. So yes, just fill the information that is required of you there. Just put your name and your Telegram handle basically, or any other information that they require you to put there. Right. So any other question, guys? Any other question? Any observation? Anything to note? Hello, Prince. Are you saying something? If no, please kindly mute so that I'll be sure who's talking. Okay. So without any further ado, can we call this class a night? Can we call it a night? A thumbs up will do very well. All right, cool. Who is in support? I think we've done justice to the year. Awesome, awesome. All right. So my X handle is at favicin underscore O. Yes, this is my X handle. So I would love to connect with all of you and um love to also hear from all of you as to how your journey as community mods and community managers are going. So this is my handle at favicin underscore O on X. Just you could also shoot me a DM and tell me, okay, I was in a class with Value Corp and I'll definitely connect with you properly. Yes, and I look forward to connecting with all of you on Twitter as well. Then I think I'm really actually friends with Dima already. I'm not sure. Dima sounds familiar. I don't know if she's the one, but should be. But yeah, whichever way, just do well to reach out on Twitter or X, and I would definitely reciprocates very well. Okay, so Miss Victoria, are you with us? Okay. All right. So that being said, you're welcome, Gerald. It's my pleasure. Definitely my pleasure. So that being said, it was great having all of you on the call today, and I actually had fun talking about community management and community moderation. You guys get, and it was fun doing it with you guys. So yeah, let's do this some other time, and always have fun. You're much welcome, Olaoye. So if you have any other questions, my DM on X is very much open. I'd love to connect with you guys and see how we keep building and growing together on the space. All right, so that being said, we would call it a night at this junction. A very big shout out to Miss Victoria for organizing this. Trust me, there are very few people who do this for free or the way she does it. So you guys are indeed very lucky. So yes, I will see you all in the TL. And if you have any questions, just ask in the Telegram community. Or if you want anything personal, my DM is also open. I would be more than willing to help and assist as much as I can. So thank you all for staying till this point. I will see you when I do. And please stay safe and have a great time. Thank you and bye. Good night, guys.